All you people out here saying, the San Antonio Spurs won't make the playoffs. What's the odds of them making the playoffs? I mean, the West is just too stacked.
I want some nasty!
Mój das ma gap, więc chodź do tańca, gdy krok to szansa i los nam gra. Mam duszę starca, nie umiem walca na palcach hard. Na palcach hard, na palcach hard.
What's good, Spurs Knights? It's your boy Clan the Spurs fan, and I'm here with a brand new video. If you guys could give me a like, subscribe, and turn that notification bell on. Now, as you can see, I got a little different scenery today, but I'm still gonna give you that dope content. So let's get into it. Okay, I'm just gonna go straight into it. I am getting tired and sick of hearing people say that the San Antonio Spurs aren't gonna make the playoffs because the West is just too stacked and the Spurs aren't. Okay, I'm gonna give you 5 reasons. I'm giving you 5 reasons why the San Antonio Spurs are gonna make the playoffs. And I hope you hear these 5 reasons. And I'm not talking to Spurs fans, because Spurs fans know that the San Antonio Spurs are gonna make the playoffs. We're pretty sure about that. But this is for the outsiders out there that really believe the San Antonio Spurs aren't gonna make the playoffs. I got 5 reasons for y'all why we will. So let's get straight into the video. The number 5 reason is history, guys. We have history. All you people out here saying, the San Antonio Spurs won't make the playoffs. What's the odds of them making the playoffs? I mean, the West is just too stacked. Guys, we've missed the playoffs a total of 6. I'm sorry, 7? No, 8. 4! We missed the playoffs 4 times in the span of 42 years, man. We don't miss the playoffs. That's 90% of the time. Out of 42 years of being in existence, the San Antonio Spurs have made the playoffs 90% of the time. I know we think about Pop and say Pop is just so great, which he is. But we've been making the playoffs before Pop. We have a history of this. It's in our culture, it's in our blood. So all you people that's saying that the San Antonio Spurs won't make the playoffs, guess what? We make the playoffs 90% of the time. So get out of here with that. So let's get into number 4. Number 4. The number 4 reason the Spurs will make the playoffs is that we are the better of a lot of teams in the West. Look, I have a list here. I'm gonna look at this list. And I'm gonna tell you some of these teams that are in the West that's in the playoff race right now, as we speak. And I'm gonna tell you the teams, right now, I'm gonna tell you the teams that I believe that we're better than. Thunder, I think down the stretch, if we had to face the Thunder, and as the season goes on, we will be better than the Thunder. I do not believe in the Thunder, and I believe in Popovich's ability to shut down Westbrook. And if Westbrook shut down, their team's a no-go. I'm sorry. I know they've won some games, or maybe a couple games without him, but no Westbrook, no show. Okay, so we could stop Westbrook. Clippers are tough. They are a tough team. Don't get me wrong. They're defensively tough. But I think as the season goes on, we'll be better than them. Lakers, we're 3-1 against them. Memphis, we always have their number. I know we lost last game, but we always have Memphis' number. Mavericks, yeah, I believe we're better than them. Trailblazers, yeah, we're better than them. The only 2 teams on this list that are tough, to me, when it comes down to the end of the season and, you know, everything's wrapping up, and the toughest teams, I think, if we had to face them, if we made the playoffs and had to face them, or even as the duration of the season goes on, is the Nuggets and Warriors. Now, we beat the Warriors once, but those 2 teams are tough. They're going to be really tough. And don't get me wrong, the West is wide open. I know people say it's just so stacked. I know it's stacked. But the San Antonio Spurs are one of the better teams in the West. Don't get fooled just because they played bad over the last month or so. They are still, if you look at the talent, if you look at the coaching, if you look at all the pieces. Now, only Spurs fans understand all the pieces that come into San Antonio. Other people will see Bertans and see other guys and say, oh, they're trash. Or look at Brent Forbes and say, I don't know who that is, so he's trash. But Spurs fans have watched, and Spurs fans realize that these guys are huge for the team. So when you look at the team as a whole, we're just better than a lot of these teams. A lot of them. So let's get into number 3. The number 3 reason is a very, very underrated aspect to a team. It's very underrated. The number 3 reason the San Antonio Spurs will make the playoffs is we have experience on the team. I'm not saying that they have experience necessarily with each other, but they have experience. We are a team full of guys that are veterans, that have been there, that have been to war. They're hungry. Some of them are hungry for a championship that never had one. Some of them had one already, or had a couple already, Pau Gasol. And you look at this team, and you have DeMar, you have LA, you have Marco, you have Patty, you have Rudy, you have, these guys are full of experience, and that's very important in a team. Look at the Phoenix Suns, for instance. Phoenix Suns, they look bad, but I look at their team, and I don't think they have lack of talent. I think they have lack of experience. They're young. I mean, that's the biggest issue with them. Why do you think a lot of these teams that have young teams or have young talent always try to bring in a veteran or two? It's a very underrated aspect to a team at times that people don't think about. The Spurs are not going to miss the playoffs because these veterans aren't going to allow it. They know how the NBA works. They know how to come into games. They know how to prepare for games. They've been through the leaps and valleys. They've had losses. They've had adversity. They've been through injuries. They're going to come together and get this team, will this team into the playoffs. It's just going to happen. Even when I look at the Rockets right now, the biggest problem with the Rockets, I think, is probably them just getting really down on themselves. But you look at them, they have experience. I wouldn't expect anything less for the Rockets by the end of the season to be in the playoff race. But yeah, that's the main thing. We have experience. And I don't understand how a lot of these analysts can go on television and start talking about how the Spurs are trash when they have all this experience, along with Popovich as another aspect of experience, an experienced coach, that they're not going to get in there. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But I digress. Let's go into number 2. Number 2. I'm piggybacking off of the last point I made with number 3 when it comes to experience. And number 2 has to do with the balance of our team. We are so balanced. It's just all a matter of getting it all together, letting it come together. But we are a balanced team. We got the mid-range on lock. LA, DeMar. We got 3-pointers on lock. Bertans, Patty, Marco, Dante, Bryn. I mean, we have that on lock. Even Pau Gasol. The paint, DeMar DeRozan. Cunningham's a great slasher. Jakob is a good paint presence. We are a very balanced team. Don't let any of these losses or any of these games where Spurs have played badly to fool you. By the end of the season, by even mid-season, the Spurs look like they should be a well-oiled machine because they are so balanced. They can hit you at any area. And a lot of teams don't have that. A lot of teams are either threes or paint. Sometimes they're both. It's rare when you get a team that's mid-range too. Now the Warriors are pretty balanced. I don't think they have a great paint presence, but Boogie's going to get there, and that's going to be hell. But if you look at the Warriors, they're balanced. Threes on lock, mid-range KD and Clay, and Steph is a good mid-range shooter too. And then the paint, once Boogie come back, they'll be balanced. So if you look at these teams in the West, we're one of the most balanced teams, and not only just by position. If you look at the balance as far as the starters, good starters, and you look at our bench, very good bench. Not many teams can say they have a balanced bench like we do. So, when it's all said and done, I think our balance will help wheel us into the playoffs. Now, let's get into number 1. Number 1. Pop. Pop! Yeah, Pop! Pop! What? Pop! 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 garbage, pop. So guys, that was my number 5 reasons the San Antonio Spurs will make the playoffs. I think some fans are worrying too much and the haters are chirping, but we can't worry about that. Our San Antonio Spurs have a history of making the playoffs, they have the experience to making the playoffs, and they have pop. We're gonna be all right. And I really, really believe in this team. And you know what? I'll add in the 6. Here's an extra one, special feature here. We'll add in one more. So, I'm starting from 5. Number 0. Whatever. Number 0. The number 0 reason the San Antonio Spurs will make the playoffs. We got Lonnie Walker coming. Eventually, when he gets here, he's gonna be a beast. So that's another reason. But let them hate. Let people talk. Let them say what they want to say about your San Antonio Spurs. But that's all it is. Just talk. Because when it's all said and done, they still gotta play. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you could, please, please. The subscriptions are growing and I'm loving it. You guys are awesome. Please give me a like, subscribe, and turn the notification bell on. Until next time, Spurs Knights. Deuces.